So God of War came out a few months ago, and damn has that game been fun. The combat is very unique from previous games, but still pretty brutal. Exploration is this pseudo-open world that kind of reminded me a lot of Legend of Zelda. But my favorite part of this game was the story that it told. Not only was the new Norse mythology a great departure from the previous games, but the father-son relationship between Kratos and Atreus was the best part of this whole experience. And when I made it to the end of this game's story, it got me thinking about the future of this franchise. And one of the things that made me think about was, will they be killing off Kratos in the next God of War game? For those of you who would need a quick recap for what happened in God of War 4? Dad of Boy? It went something kind of like this. Kratos and Atreus head off on an adventure to the highest peak in all the 9 realms, so that they can scatter the ashes of Atreus' dead mother, Faye. Inconveniently, the highest peak in the realm is located in Jotunheim. So after traveling through 6 of the 9 realms, and getting involved with some godly business, Kratos and Atreus eventually make it to Jotunheim. It's here in Jotunheim where we learn that Faye was a giant this whole time, making Atreus half god, half mortal, and half giant. Turns out Faye predicted the entire journey of the game. She also predicts events yet to come, like Kratos dying, for good this time. Also Thor. So yeah, the possibility of Kratos dying and staying dead in the next God of War could be a thing, but knowing the track record of Kratos, staying dead is not part of his character. Plus, after killing Zeus and the entire Greek pantheon, now with his sights for god genocide focused on Odin and Thor, I feel that Kratos as a character is coming to an end. And I feel there will be a shift of focus from Kratos to Atreus, making him the main playable character for any possible future God of War games. After all, we still gotta visit Egypt and Japan to kill their respective gods as well. Having Kratos do the same song and dance over and over again could run itself dry. You can mutilate a person oh so many times. I feel that Kratos' character arc is finished because there's not much left to explore about him. To better explain myself, let's look back at the original God of War on the PlayStation 2. In previous God of War games, Kratos' character is a literal Greek tragedy. And what drives him through the original God of War trilogy is acts of redemption and revenge. Starting with God of War 1, Kratos goes on this big epic quest to kill Ares because he wants to get rid of the nightmares of him killing his own family. Of course, Kratos does succeed in killing Ares, but since Greek gods are dicks, they forgive him for his evil deeds, but don't remove the nightmares. When Kratos decides to take matters into his own hands, the gods are like, nah, this guy seems stable enough. Besides, we have a new job opening, so God of War. In the second game, Kratos begins his adventure for revenge against his father, Zeus. Not only for being a deadbeat dad, but also for driving the sword into his chest. This revenge story continues on into God of War 3, where Kratos finally puts an end to all of his madness. This was a perfect ending to the God of War story. A violent end to a violent story about a violent person. And to make this ending a bit more interesting, a little dash of, is he really dead or is he still alive, sprinkled in. Keep the fans guessing. And then Ascension came out 3 years later, but it's a prequel to the first game, so it doesn't really count about where this franchise is going. It wouldn't be until E3 2016 when fans would finally get an answer to God of War 3's ambiguous ending. And that answer was a new God of War for the PlayStation 4. Kratos is now in an all-new setting with an all-new purpose in life. No longer is he fighting for redemption or for revenge. Now he's fighting for survival. Kratos also struggles with being a decent father to Atreus. Kratos wants Atreus to grow up and be a strong warrior, but also to not make the same mistakes as himself. By keeping his past a secret, Kratos believes he can do better for Atreus. And he's right for the most part. In the end, both Kratos and Atreus accept who they are, as well as having grown a stronger respect for each other. And when it's all said and done, Kratos accepts what he did in his past and finally lets it all go, freeing himself from the mental and physical chains that bond him to the violence in his life. So do I think they're gonna kill off Kratos? It's hard to tell at this point, but if I were honest, I think it'd be perfect to kill off Kratos once and for all. And for how the relationship between him and Atreus has grown throughout this game, I think passing the torch onto Atreus is the next step in order to keep this franchise fresh.